Hey everyone, welcome to episode 44 of Piv's NXT Point of View podcast. My name is Bill Pivets. If you want, follow me on Twitter at bpiv_sports. Also, rate, review the podcast on iTunes, Podbean, and also on YouTube. Now I post the episodes there as well. Before we get started with this week's episode, I do want to wish those of you who celebrate a very Merry Christmas. For those of you who don't, I just wish you a Happy Holidays and also a Happy New Year, as we are very close to 2016. So, this week's episode was the week after NXT TakeOver in London. It was taped before the TakeOver special, so they are still in London, with the crowd filing in and still being as rowdy as they were last week. This week, we had the 4-team tag team match with Jason Jordan, Chad Gable, the Hype Bros, the Vaudevillains, and Blake and Murphy, and we also saw the return of Sami Zayn. The show kicked off with the 4-team tag team match. The Hype Bros were booed out of the building when they made their entrance and throughout the match as well. And Jason Jordan, Chad Gable obviously got the best reaction of the night. The crowd was rowdy early, which, as you could tell, as TakeOver went, it was a sign of things to come. During the match, Mojo blind tagged Gable, and the crowd hated it. It immediately began a "We Want Gable" chant. And then at one point, one team member threw another team member out until the only one that was left in the ring was Jason Jordan. Then all 4 teams ran into the ring and squared off each other, which led to the first commercial break. Back in the ring, Gable was able to tag himself back in and then wrestled around both Blake and Murphy. At this point, Alexa distracted the ref, which allowed Blake and Murphy to take advantage of Chad Gable. Gable countered Aiden English's senton and then went to tag in Jason Jordan, but Buddy Murphy pulled Jordan off the apron. Gable came back and made the hot tag to Jordan, who took out Blake and Murphy and the Vaudevillains with a bunch of suplexes. We then got a Suplex City champ. Ryder then landed a tope from the ring to the outside onto the Vaudevillains. Jordan then suplexed Murphy onto everyone on the outside. He and Gable then landed the assisted back suplex to get the win. Obviously, they made the right choice of putting Jason Jordan and Chad Gable over. They were the crowd favorite to begin with, and they've been on a hot streak recently, the last couple weeks, winning a lot of matches, getting so close in the Dusty Tag Team Classic, but picking up big wins in the weeks following that. The first part of the match was a little slow, but it did give the teams time to showcase their moves just to get a feel for each other. But then after the commercial break, they then picked things up, the fast-paced motion, all the suplexes, the blind tags, the top rope dives, all that stuff. I wish the match did go a little longer, but with TakeOver being taped right after this, I understand why they kept it as short as they did. I guess if it was elimination, it would have been a little longer, but then again, it probably would have been the only match on the card if it was elimination. They didn't announce this during the show, or else I missed it, but on the WWE NXT Instagram page, they named Jason Jordan and Chad Gable the number 1 contenders for the NXT Tag Team Championship. So, obviously, they have been improving. They've been the top team in NXT for a while. They're definitely number 1 babyface team, and now they're getting rewarded by having a shot at Dash and Dawson. We then got a video airing Dana Brooke yelling at Emma as she was on the trainer's table. Dana said, "I wish Asuka was here right now," and lo and behold, she appeared. She did Emma's taunt and then left. Dana was furious after that, but Emma kind of was just trying to calm her down as best as she could. We got highlights of some of the other stops that NXT made throughout England, and my stream froze a little bit during this part, but I really didn't miss much because it was just a bunch of recaps. Ty Dillinger was then shown in the makeup room. He cut a promo on Sami Zayn, and then we got another Elias Sampson vignette. Baron Corbin, after his win against Apollo Crews, called himself the number 1 contender, or the self-proclaimed number 1 contender for the NXT Championship. Second match was Bull Dempsey versus the debuting Elias Sampson. First thing I noticed was that his theme song was actually pretty cool. I liked it. It was like a low guitar melody with, I think there were some instrumentals behind it as well. But it was just a cool theme. It kind of fit his character, that slow, prodding motion that he made to the ring. He wasn't hyper like a Mojo Rawley. He was taking his time, taking everything in, and it definitely fit his character. Off the rope, Sampson caught Bull with a high knee to the face. He then landed a diving elbow drop to get the win. Nothing really major here. He didn't really impress me. Granted, it was a 2-minute match, if that, and it was against Bull Dempsey, so you know they weren't going to be wrestling a 5-star classic. The only thing that I did notice, too, is he looked like Randy Savage with the long hair and the beard coming off the top rope for the elbow. But in the meantime, I'm just in a wait-and-see mode of what Elias Sampson could do in NXT. The roaming interviewer caught up with Dash and Dawson. They called themselves the best tag team on the planet and wished Enzo and Cass a happy holidays. Third and final match on the show was Ty Dillinger against the returning Sami Zayn. He got a huge reaction when his music hit and he appeared. And I was actually happy to see him back. NXT could definitely use a guy like Sami Zayn on the roster, not only for the crowd and the NXT crowd, but also backstage doing training. As you can see on Breaking Ground, if you guys don't watch that, the newest episode showed him. And actually Tyler Breeze training Ava Marie in the ring. So it's good to see someone of his caliber, with all of his experience that he had, helping out backstage. But I just really hope he's not in NXT too long. There's really not much. I mentioned this before, I think when they announced that he was debuting this week, or returning this week. I think I said that he doesn't need to be in NXT long. There's really not much for him to do. He's won the NXT championship. He's had classic matches with Cesaro, Neville, and all of those guys. So I guess if either passing the torch kind of thing or just using NXT to shake off the ring rust before he makes his main roster debut. But I just hope he's not in there for like another year. As he was making his entrance, Sami Zayn did the arm raises on the stairs, the same ones that he injured on Raw. So I guess this guy's never going to learn. Early in the match, Ty Dillinger focused on the injured left shoulder. He had the advantage early, just wearing down Sami Zayn and just out-wrestling him. Zayn sped things up a little bit with some 3 arm drag takedowns. He then faked a suicide dive. He went to the outside, but Ty drove his left shoulder into the steel post as they went to a commercial break. Zayn shook off Ty Dillinger. He landed a nice fisherman suplex and landed the outside dive. He then ducked a clothesline and was able to connect with the Blue Thunder Bomb and got a nice near fall. After a roll-up, Ty connected with the super kick, and actually the crowd almost believed he won there. He then mocked Sami Zayn and went for the haluva kick, but Zayn caught his foot, hit the exploder suplex into the corner. He then connected with his own haluva kick to get the win. After the match, Sami Zayn cut a promo saying he's back, which then started a huge Ole chant, which was heard throughout the match as well. He said there was a trend throughout his career. When his dreams come true, bad things happen. When he won the NXT title, he had Kevin Owens attack him, and then he lost it a couple months later. And then his Raw debut, he tears his shoulder labrum. He said after tonight, another dream came true, and the trend is broken. A little later, he went on a bit, but after that he said big things are happening for NXT, and more things like this are happening for NXT and himself in 2016. It was a good match, really nothing to write home about, but it was more of the storytelling behind this match. Sami Zayn's first match in 7 or 8 months. The storytelling as far as can he keep up, shake off the ring rust. He looked a little weary out there with Ty Dillinger getting the best of him early, which definitely played into the whole story. Is he ready to come back? Can he get his feet underneath him? And it made sense that Ty Dillinger got as much offense as he did because Dillinger's been wrestling while Sami Zayn was rehabbing. So it made sense for him to just be able to outmaneuver him in the early going. That was pretty much the rest of the show. They showed highlights of NXT TakeOver throughout this episode, but there really wasn't much as far as substance to the show. There wasn't any stories that progressed. Maybe the Asuka and Dana Brooke story got a little advancement there, but really nothing major. No follow-up to the NXT title match. Little follow-up with the tag titles as far as Jason Jordan and Chad Gable being the new number 1 contenders. They didn't really announce when they'll get their title shot. And a lot of backstage interviews coming off of TakeOver as well. So that was episode 44 of Piv's NXT Point of View podcast. Like I said, I wish you guys a Merry Christmas if you guys celebrate that. If not, just spend the time with your family heading into the new year. And I'll be back next week with episode 45. Peace.